It was 1997, and the Retro Mule was but 12 years old. My big brother arrived home one night from the little IT company he used to work for as a kid, brandishing a chunky long box with the words Orchid Righteous 3D emblazoned on it. I had only the vaguest concept of what a 3D accelerator was at the time, but my brother insisted that this 3DFX Voodoo would do incredible things for our 3D gaming careers. So we went into our little office backroom thing. My brother opened up the case, a terrifying proposition to me at the time, and inserted the card in the vacant PCI slot, connected one VGA cable to the existing 2D graphics card and one to the CRT monitor. We closed the case back up and booted into Windows 95. We installed the drivers and started this incredible demo you see before you. Just listen to the awesome click of the card's physical relay switch as the Voodoo cards engaged. Bonza. Now, we had the card, we had the incredibly impressive, for the time, demos that incidentally made the PS1, Saturn and N64 look very crude indeed. Now, we just needed a game. Now for me, the game most emblematic of this magical early 3D accelerator frontierland was in fact the Need for Speed 2. Boom! This game worked exclusively using the 3DFX's proprietary Glide API. If you didn't have a 3DFX, you were stuck with software mode, which still played really nicely, but looked a bit poo. So, you slapped in a 3DFX, and the game went from looking like this to looking like this. Now then, you may have played this game using N-Glide or DG Voodoo on a modern PC in 4K resolution at 5000 frames per second, but you haven't really experienced it until you've seen it in 480p resolution at 24-ish frames per second, and with the 3DFX Voodoo's patented raised gamma and super duper smearovision. You may say it looks like total shit, but as far as I'm concerned,
Want you just the way you are.
This is how it looked back in the day, in the best possible conditions, and compared to the competition, with the exception of the frame rate maybe, it did look absolutely amazing.
Three, two, one, go!
This game is still a thrill to play today. The physics might be insane, but the sense of speed, the competitive nature of the AI cars, the finely honed rubber banding, and the awesome and sometimes stupid tracks and locations themselves still make me sweat and grin. It's a cliche of course, but the gameplay really hasn't aged a day. The soundtrack too is an awesome slice of prime 90s rock techno fusion whateverness that takes me right back to that wonderful era of Sunny Delight, Robert Miles, The X-Files, tortuous fucking awful cross-country running PE sessions, and due south. Those were the days. This game, along with many games of the late 90s, marked a shift in production values and art design into a new, crisp, sleek, spacious era. You can see the shift in tone from the original game, even in the UI and the menus, not to mention the music itself. We were swiftly approaching the millennium, and gaming was becoming ever more sophisticated, at least in terms of its presentation.
Here we are using technology to save the planet. Our tiny chip It does 100 billion operations per second. That is power most awesome. And we are using it to make a difference. Imagine clean air, pure water, and a new future. I wish my family back home could see me now. And we are most proud knowing that we are doing our part to help save the planet.
Attention, everybody. We're going to forget that environment stuff and use a chip for computer games. Back to work.
3D effects, PC accelerators. So powerful, it's kind of ridiculous.
Blast his freaking head off!
However, the Need for Speed had not yet lost sight of its roots. Not until that terrible Fast and the Furious business a few years later. Ay ay ay. I'm a big fan of the original Need for Speed game too, and for me these two still represent the peak of the series. Maybe the third one belongs in there too. The first one focused more on Americana and a full-blooded rock soundtrack, while the second one feels a bit more sleek and European, but I have to admit it also feels a bit more hollow, owed largely to the lack of traffic on the roads, I think. Anyway, it's a fine game. I encourage anyone to try it at least once, either on a retro machine like me if you're insane, or on a modern platform using N-Glide or similar. You will experience one of the greatest games from the absolute peak of the arcade racing era. I defy you to not have a damn good time and to have your need for speed well and truly quenched.
The XJ220 wins!